Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Absurd Arguments, a podcast where two friends talk about things in an argumentative fashion. My name is Matthew, and I'm here with my good friend Nathan. Nathan, how? Okay, so I'm gonna kind of break the trend a little bit.
Okay.
How much of a space boy are you?
Ooh. Bro, I'm spacing out all the time. You know it.
Yep, that's good. I don't think that's the same space we're going to talk about, but it's kind of close enough.
Space. Look, man. Okay. So, we're based in Texas, and we had the joy of the eclipse passing our state, like last week or so. Now, here's how we'll gauge how much of Space Boys we are. We'll see which of us was most excited for it. Okay.
Yep.
So, Matthew, what were your thoughts on the eclipse?
So going into it, I really didn't care. I was just like, oh, it's something that's going to happen, and then it'll just, pass. It'll happen just for a couple minutes, and then it'll go away. Then I experienced it, and it was one of the coolest things I have ever seen. It was like just how dark everything got, because where we are, we got the 100% total coverage of the sun, and it was just like amazing to see it go from super bright outside to streetlights coming on at almost 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Like, it was crazy. It was super cool to see.
Yeah. So for me, it was a steady buildup of excitement. Leading up to it, I kept getting articles talking about the path of totality.
That's a good metal band name.
The path of totality. It's so cool. And
we are the path of totality. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And so I was getting pretty dang hyped for it, I was pretty excited. And I even bought the little cool glasses on Amazon. I waited too long, so they were marked up pretty high. But I got them, and so like 20 minutes beforehand, I was playing video games with my little brothers, and I was like, guys, I got to get off. I'm going to go watch the eclipse. And they're like, you big baby, you big eclipse baby, you watching the eclipse? And I was like, forget you guys. I'm going to go watch it. And at first I was disappointed with the glasses because I put them on and they're totally black and you can't see anything.
Yeah.
And then I looked at the sun and I was like,
please tell me you put him on and then tried to walk outside of your apartment.
No, I went outside first and then put them on. And I was like, I can't see a full thing. I can't walk around with these. I was like, what? Are these defective? Like, that's what I thought. And then I looked at the sun with it and I was like, oh, wow, I can see the little sliver, Yeah. And so I got my lawn chair out and sat in my driveway. And I just craned my neck up and I slowly watched the sliver of sun disappear. And then I took them off and you're right. It was just totally dark outside. We have these automatic lights that come on when it's nighttime. They all turned on. It was so cool. Just a bright white ring in the sky. And it was amazing. One of the coolest things I've seen.
Yeah. We all had our Ray Charles moment when we put on the glasses too early and we realized, oh my gosh, I cannot see a single thing.
Yeah. It was cool. But we bring this up because we're talking about space today, right?
Absolutely. And what I want to do before we get into our argument is I want to bring up motivation again, because you have that one
Mm,
motivational quote, shoot for the moon, and even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. And so
right. I
in
thought it
this
was the other way
episode,
around. I thought it was shoot
shoot
for
for
the.
the stars, even if you miss, you'll land on the moon.
I mean, that makes. I don't know. I don't know how the phrase goes now. You've messed me up. It could theoretically work both ways.
No, you you aim for a small target, and if you miss, you'll go into, a bigger expanse. You don't aim for the big expanse and then just happen to hit the small target. That's not how that works, Nathan.
I don't know. Uh, which is the smaller target, the stars or the
The
moon?
moon is a smaller target.
Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Anyway.
So I have some motivational quotes, and because I'm a paid minister, I want to kind of redeem some of the last few episodes of unfortunate things I've said. So I'm going to compare some motivational Bible verses to
Oh,
motivational quotes. And
okay.
Nathan, I have 10 of these bad boys. And so I need
Right.
you to tell me what is motivational and what is the Bible. And at the end, I will reveal where I got the verses from.
Okay. Gotcha.
All right, so here we go. Quote number one: when you no longer care what others think of you, you have reached the highest level of freedom.
Hmm. That's got to be a motivational quote.
That is correct. And of course, all of these motivational quotes come from the wonderful world of Instagram motivation. So
I do love that.
it's pretty good. All right.
Okay.
Quote number two: a good future needs some bad memories.
Oh, that's got to be motivational, I guess.
It is motivational. Congratulations. Two for
Okay.
two so far. Here
Right.
we go. Number three: wisdom is even better when you have money.
Uh. um. I'm gonna risk it and say the Bible.
That is correct. That is
Oh,
from
heck
the
yeah.
Bible.
Dang.
Mm. All right. Number four: wise men think a lot about death, but a fool only thinks about having a good time.
um, I'll say the Bible again.
Ooh, four for four. Pretty good so far.
Okay, I'm on a roll.
Number five: finishing is better than starting.
Um, I would say that's a motivational quote.
Uh-oh. That's from the Bible.
Dang, that's pretty
Yep.
sick. That's a good one.
Yep. All right, here we
Okay.
go. So it took you five to get one wrong. All right, here we go.
Huh. That's describes my life.
Number six: yes, you were made for more, but maybe it's not more tasks, more work, more responsibility, more consumption. Ever think that instead you were made for more laughter, more spontaneous fun, more sunshine on your face, more ice cream, more feelings at home in your body, more swims in the ocean, free limbs exposed to the open air, more love, more long, lingering dinners with conversations that take on expiring, thought provoking tangents, more deep talks, more depth in general, more days lost in a book or a life, more smiling, more joy, more warm evening feelings that are punctuated with contentment, more sighs of relief, more pasta, more bread, more food that you love without any guilt, more hugs, more of that feeling you get when you are hooked on a new book and feel ravenous to feel it, to finish it. More life, more of you being exactly you, more of enjoying more.
Hmm. Um. Whew. Either you just read us an entire psalm, or that's got to be an Instagram motivational quote.
it is motivational.
Oh, thank goodness.
I came across that and I was like, this is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. I'm going to
Yeah,
talk about it on the internet.
it's pretty great.
Oh, all right. Number 7. Every single person has to go through something that destroys them so they can figure out who they really are.
Um, Motivational quote.
Correct. That is motivational. You're doing pretty well. Pretty well.
Yeah.
All right, here it is. Number 8. It is better to say nothing than to make a promise and not keep it.
That's gonna be the Bible.
Boom. You got it.
Nice.
Number 9. If I wanted it, I took it. I denied myself nothing. I even found pleasure in the hard work I did.
Bible.
Boom! You got it. You got it.
Nice.
And finally, number 10. Dear me, one day I'll buy you that Rolls Royce. I promise.
um, I think that is Instagram.
Correct. That is Instagram.
Nice.
Congratulations, Nathan. You only missed one.
1 out of 10. That ain't bad.
That's pretty good. So, would you like
Dude,
to take a guess where I got the Bible verses from?
Ecclesiastes.
Absolutely.
Heck yeah. One of the most depressing books in the Bible. I love it.
Yep.
Dude, some of these quotes remind me. I was looking through an old phone, my camera reel, and going through some memes and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
and I forgot that I came across this one business, page on
Yep.
Instagram one time, and there are two quotes from it that I saved because I just thought they were so funny. The first one is, "You will be the first millionaire in your family. Type yes if you agree." Uh, so I really liked that one. And then
Mm-hmm.
the other one is a picture of a guy getting off of a helicopter, and it said, "I'm not working to be seen. I'm working to disappear." which I just, it makes no sense to me, and I love it to death.
Yep. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
used the New Living Translation of the Bible just to make it more modern language. And then I
Right.
did do a little bit of heretical editing just to make it sound like a motivational quote, which worked on one. So
Yeah. One
I would
sounded
say
really
it was a
good.
success.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, as we shoot for the moon, join us as we miss the smaller target and hit the larger target of landing among the stars as we go ahead and cue the music. All right, Nathan, let's get down to business. Let's stop messing around. We're motivated. I think we're ready to start talking about space. Now, here's the real question.
Yeah.
When we think about space, we think about, the planets. And a
Right.
lot of that has to do with kind of, the little things we saw as kids. I remember watching like Treasure Planet, um,
Yeah.
and those other space movies. Um,
Star Wars.
oh yeah, Star Wars, Star Trek. Wasn't Friday the 13th in space at one point?
Yeah, I think there was one, Jason in Space or something like that.
So space is,
Yeah.
when we think about space, we think about planets. And one
Mhm.
particular planet comes to mind.
Yeah. What planet could that be?
It's actually not a planet. It's a
Yeah. Oh,
dwarf planet called Pluto.
yeah. So you think that Pluto's not really a planet?
I think it is a poor excuse to be considered a planet.
All right. Okay. Give your stupid reasoning.
No, 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 no. That I have the majority view now because all of science agrees with me. You absolutely can take that little quote out of context as much as you like. So, Nathan, you have to
Look,
tell me why Pluto is a planet.
okay, I'm just going with the vibes here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's a couple things that come to mind. First, when I was a kid, and some of our listeners probably when they were kids, Pluto was a planet. All right? I don't believe that we should demote planets to being not planets. That isn't fair. That isn't right. It's unjust. You
Mm-hmm.
know, Pluto deserves its planet status. You know, it's like Pluto is like the Marines of space. Okay, like once a Marine, always a Marine. And so once a planet, always a planet. That's been my closely held view until about 20 seconds ago. Um, that, you know, once a planet, always a planet.
Mm-hmm.
Also, okay, let's approach this from a different point of view. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what is another famous Pluto that we know of?
The dog?
Bingo. The the dog. All right. So if Pluto is no longer a planet, then Pluto the dog, he's just he's just a dog, you know? Like he's not an icon anymore. He's just a dog with a name instead of, oh, he's a dog with the name of a planet, you know? Um I don't know. I think that's a powerful point that I've just made. And and I think your silence confirms that you're speechless, you know?
Nathan,
Yeah.
I don't I don't mean to degrade you in any way,
Oh,
but
you usually don't mean to, but it happens.
when you have a statement, oh, there's a train. He's gonna blare his horn.
Okay.
Gosh, I hate trains.
I like
I'm
trains.
just gonna wait because I don't know when he's gonna, toot toot again.
I don't know when I'm going to get toot toot again either. Hits at any moment.
Okay, I think we're clear. So when you say something like, "Oh my gosh, I have no idea what you said anymore," I've since
About
forgotten.
I said that if Pluto's not a planet, then Pluto the dog is just a dog. He's no longer an icon. He's no
Right,
longer a mascot to look up to.
right. And then you
It's called
said,
logic.
but then it was stupid logic. And then you said, um, like, I don't know if anyone can argue with that.
Yeah, I said you were speechless. Like you didn't say anything in reply.
Yeah. Anytime you say you can't argue with that, that is like the worst possible thing you could have said at that moment.
I don't know about that.
Well, Wikipedia disagrees because a dwarf planet is a small planetary mass object that is direct orbit around the sun, massive enough to be gravitationally rounded, but insufficient to achieve orbital dominance like the 8 classical planets of the solar system.
Hey,
Pluto
look.
cannot have orbital dominance.
Look, just because Pluto isn't as big as Uranus doesn't mean doesn't mean that you have to disrespect it like that, okay? It has orbital dominance.
It doesn't because Pluto which was for decades regarded as a planet, has now been given the
Mm-hmm.
dwarf, in quotes, concept that
Oh,
was adopted in 2006. So
that's
it's
even
not
worse. It's
enough.
like consolation prize.
Exactly. It's constellation bias.
Look, okay, who, folks, we'll posit it to you. Who would you believe? You know, Wikipedia, or your own feelings from when you were a child. You know, because when we learned the planets, Matthew, we
Hmm.
learned that Pluto was a planet.
You know, you can't really establish much on these two things because, like Wikipedia, feelings can change at any moment. And
Exactly.
someone could go onto Wikipedia and say, oh, Pluto is actually not a dwarf planet. um,
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
I.
Give me a second. I'm gonna type that in real quick.
Okay.
Yep. See, now Wikipedia agrees with me. Good luck.
I mean, you've got all these other things. You've got. I'm not saying Pluto isn't cool because it apparently has an ice volcano that's larger than Mount Everest continually erupting. And you also have on an article on nature.com titled Pluto's Dark Side Spills Its Secrets. You have just an incredible thing of like what Pluto has on it. It's a very cool planet. But in the same way, you know, someone under 5'6" can also have a good personality. They just don't measure up to the standards of others.
Yeah. Hey, look, this is clearly a deeply held issue between us. I don't think we're gonna find any common ground. I refuse
I
to
mean,
demote it to just dwarf planet.
all I'll say is Pluto itself is a cool, how do I put this? It's a cool giant ball of ice floating around on the outskirts of our solar system.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. That's disrespectful. All right. Let's move on.
All right.
I can't handle this disrespect.
That's fine. You continue to not handle that disrespect. Now, there are two things though that we also need to address. And the first one is I think a bigger question is you have Star Trek that says it starts off especially, you know, Star Trek The Next Generation, which is the show that I watched the most because that was the show my stepdad loved growing up, and it was one that he watched, you know, continually as an adult, and it's a fun show, but it starts off as space, the final frontier. But we're here to ask the question: is it really the final frontier? And
Yeah,
I would like to say,
I think it is.
hmm, it's interesting you say that because I disagree.
Oh, okay. Well, what is the final frontier then?
A lot of people will say like, you know, oh, it's it's the ocean. There's so much of the ocean we haven't explored.
Yeah.
And here's the deal, Nathan. When we think of like the frontier, like Manifest Destiny and all that jazz back in the day, like when
Mm-hmm.
we think of the frontier, we think of places we can settle and we can live. And it's that's like as far as I can tell, it's we're getting close, but we're just not there yet. So I wouldn't even
Right.
consider it as a frontier at all. There is one place on this earth that we need to fully conquer before we go into outer space. And the
Okay.
true final frontier is Australia.
Oh, the outback, you say?
Yes. Because, I mean, how much of it Australia is actually like inhabited? Let me look that up real quick.
I don't know. And honestly, I've never been there and I've never seen it. It could be a made up place for all we know.
An estimated 40% of Australia is considered uninhabitable. So we've
Oh,
got 60% of that bad boy covered, but it's that last 40%. That is the true last frontier. Like before we even talk about being able to, settle on other planets, we have to think if humanity is truly the apex of all creation, then we must conquer Australia.
right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's pretty cool, I guess. Um, but the parts that are uninhabitable right now are probably the outback, dude. Do you
Which is
really,
true.
really, would you really want to live in the outback?
Well,
Like it's full of kangaroos and other things that can kill you.
well, the nice thing is I have two websites pulled up here. One is Science News and the other is Thrillist.com. So,
Hmm.
Thrillist.com said here's a article from 2013 that's entitled "Everything in Australia That's Trying to Kill You." And
Yeah.
there are 15 things. So, as if we conquer these 15 things, we'll be fine to live in Australia. And things on this list include spiders, saltwater crocodiles, the heat, waves, Russell Crowe, cone snails, rugby players, sharks, kangaroos, drop bears, giant centipedes, eastern brown snakes. What the heck is this?
A rugby player?
Yeah, rugby's like one of the most popular sports in Australia.
Yeah.
Have you
Anyway,
never seen a rugby player before?
I mean, you said they could kill you.
Have you
Are they just
ever seen
running?
a rugby player before?
I mean, are they just running around in the outback, waiting to knock out unsuspecting people?
Maybe. If I
Hmm.
mean, if you all of a sudden pick up a rugby ball that's laying in on the ground, and you're just like, "What am I supposed to do with this?" And then you just see this team of massive dudes with no padding and no regard for human life running at you. Wouldn't you be a little bit afraid?
I mean, yeah. I don't know. I think I'd be more afraid of the kangaroos.
Mm. What about a cassowary?
Oh. Oh, those are those creepy looking birds, right?
I've just never seen how it was spelled. That's why I was very hung up. And
Yeah.
then the last two, the box jellyfish and the stonefish,
Yeah, those are all evil.
they are quite evil.
Um, okay, so if we conquer these things, then we will have conquered Australia.
Correct. And Science News, um, they have also come up with their own list of Australia's unexpectedly dangerous creatures. And they include also cone snails and the kangaroos, but they also add wombats, magpies or magpies, I don't know how you pronounce it,
That's magpies.
honeybees, which is interesting. Bee stings actually cause more deaths in Australia than spiders do. And they have a link to an article from the AustralianGeographic.com from 2009 that talks about how bees are more deadly than spiders in Australia.
Hmm. I could see it.
So, look, all I'm saying is if we want to even possibly consider living on, a desert wasteland like Mars, we have to figure out how to get it done here on Earth. That's all I'll say.
Right. Well, I don't know. See, I think space is the final frontier. You know, we have plenty of
The
things out
meteor
there.
has destroyed your brain.
Huh?
The
What do you
media
mean?
has just taken control. This Star Trek is media. The
Ah,
media is evil.
first of all, don't you lump me in with those geeks who love that show. All right?
My
I've only seen.
wonderful stepfather who has raised me from the time I was 5 years old to this point loves Star Trek. Don't you dare insult Star Trek like that.
Just, you know,
You
I,
read.
hey, seriously, don't say that. Please cut that. All right. Uh, huh. Um, look, I'm sorry, but your stepfather is maybe kind of geeky. What doesn't he teach? Like, does he teach a subject?
Yeah, he teaches chemistry.
Uh huh. That is the pinnacle of
Wow.
nerdy and geeky subjects, right?
Wow. I'm offended.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. You can cut that too.
Well, what's that Joker meme? I'm sorry if my jokes offended you. I promise I won't do it again.
Oh yeah, I really like that one. Yeah. Um. Yeah. No, space is definitely the final frontier, man. I mean, we haven't. None of us have really lived there. You know, we've had a few guys go on the moon, and that's about it. You know, we've got a
Mm,
space station out there. That's
hmm
no way to live. You know. Um. I don't know. There's just so many things we just haven't seen. We haven't like walked around on the rings of Saturn. You know, we haven't
It's because you can't.
we haven't we haven't seen if there are actually women on Venus.
Because
You
there aren't.
know, and then like we definitely haven't looked at Uranus up close.
Yeah, we have.
So we have we been there?
No, but we have the what was the Hubble telescope, and what is it now?
Heck if I know.
Yeah, space boy.
I'm not a space
Space boy, my
boy.
ain't.
Oh, jeez. I'm just saying, there's a lot of things we haven't seen. Like even you said, even you said, one of the places we haven't fully explored is the water, like the oceans. Hey, there's oceans in space too somewhere. You know,
Yep. It's the James
we could
Webb
check those out.
telescope. That's what it is.
Ah, nice. It's the final frontier. We got to explore it.
We've got but we are exploring it.
Yeah, but like we need to. You know how like in America, back in the day, we had the East Coast, and then there was the Louisiana Purchase, and they sent the two guys, Calvin and Hobbes,
That's not it.
and Sacagawea, and they were like,
That's
go
actually
west,
right.
go, uh, Lewis and Clark, and
Yes.
so they
You,
sent him to the west. And they were, how did I remember Sacagawea before Lewis and Clark?
oh my gosh.
Golly. And so they sent him out west. And then Lewis and Clark were like, hey, this is a land flowing with milk and honey. Y'all should come out here.
They didn't say
And
that.
and then there were like, it was a frontier, and then we inhabited it, And so that's why space is the final frontier, because we haven't inhabited it yet, We've
Yes,
sent
but
out our Buzz Aldrin, our own Lewis and Clarks, but we haven't really followed them out there yet,
it was more of like Louie and Buzz.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, folks. Future Matthew here. I understand that Neil Armstrong was the one who walked on the moon and not Louis Armstrong. I was trying to make a joke of like Lewis and Clark, and in my stupidity, I said, Louis Armstrong. I know it's that, so you don't have to tell me, Tim. You don't have to tell me that I'm wrong. I already know I'm wrong. Thank you for understanding. Now let's get back to the episode. But But here's
So
here's the question: can we even inhabit space in the
yeah,
things that are outside of this Earth? And I don't know if we can.
right.
Which brings up our third question we're going to talk about.
Yeah, perfect segue.
If we were able to settle somewhere, most likely it would either be Mars or the moon. And so,
Yeah,
Nathan, you have the chance to really take us home, both figuratively and literally.
yeah.
So, where do you think we're going to go first?
I definitely think we're gonna live on Mars first. All right.
Mm,
First of all, it's where us men belong. It's like that classic sci-fi novel, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. Um, it is where us men are supposed to go. It is the promised land
mm,
for us. Um, you ever hear the phrase when a guy's angry, he's seeing red? It's
mm-hmm.
actually all back to the planet we belong to, which is the red planet, Mars. You know, and so every time if you're a guy and you're angry, you need to think, oh, I'm just acting like how I would be if I was living on Mars.
Mm-hmm.
So it is okay that I'm angry right now, you know?
Sure.
Yeah. But no, Mars is cool. It's red, it's rocky. Um, I think it'd be neat if we lived there. Uh, everybody loves Martians, you know? So it'd be cool to be known as a Martian instead of like an American or Earthling.
That's not
Earthling just
true.
sounds, dude, Earthling just sounds like a little worm, you know? Like, there's little Earthlings squirming around on the ground. But a
Mm-hmm.
Martian, like, I don't know, that has some weight behind it, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, think about all those other classic sci-fi novels like War of the Worlds. Like, I mean, so you got to go back and think, where did it get its name? Mars. And Mars is the Roman god of
God of War.
war. And
Yeah.
when you have in a H.G. Wells novel War of the Worlds, what do the
Uh-huh.
Martians do?
War, you know?
Exactly.
It's yeah, so it'd be cool. We could have a lot of fighting and stuff. It'd be fun.
No, that's bad.
Oh, right. Never mind. That part's bad.
It's
We could
bad.
live there and change the vibes.
Yep. And then, you have to think of the first, I guess, commissioned fan fiction ever, Edison's Conquest of Mars by Garrett P. Service.
Yeah.
He's like, "Hey, actually Thomas Edison is going to lead a group to go back to Mars because he reversed engineered their ships." And
Yeah.
it paints Thomas Edison in this nice, glorious light when in reality he was a, very harsh businessman who was shrewd and definitely did not care about the well-being of others, it seemed like.
Yeah.
So, I
I
mean,
mean, I don't know. It's a cool fan fiction.
it's one of the dumbest things I've ever read. it, it
Yeah, that's true.
Mars is in that book. This was written in, oh my gosh, late 1800s, I think, mid to late 1800s. It
Yeah.
paints Mars as like this jungle like planet,
Yeah.
but it's red.
Right.
So it's clearly, everything points to Mars is not the place of paradise you think it would be for men.
Okay. Well, where's the paradise then for us, for the people? Where should we go instead?
I'm glad you asked. Well, in Andy Weir's book Artemis,
Golly.
which is also a very, very bad book, um, he talks about how, I mean, this is the same guy who wrote about, The Martian. You've got
Uh-huh.
Mark Wahlberg who settles on Mars, and
Okay.
and
All
you you
right.
know
It's Matt Damon. It was Matt Damon in The
I
Martian.
get those two mixed up all the time. They're both
They
action guys who look very similar, who are in very
they
similar
look
style movies.
they look nothing alike. Mark Wahlberg's got that Boston drawl all the time.
I like that's the thing that made you get a little bit upset.
Yeah, well, I just don't associate Mark Wahlberg with The Martian. All right, it's just okay. Like have that be Matt Damon's thing.
Okay, sorry, Matt Damon.
Uh,
Um, and he goes and he gets stranded on Mars, and he's got to figure out how to grow potatoes or something. I don't know. I didn't finish the movie. And then that came from a book written by Andy Weir, and then Andy also wrote a book about settling on the moon called Artemis. And
right,
that I think is a little more feasible for a couple reasons. Number one, like it's closer. People who are just like, I'm getting ready to go colonize Mars. Once they leave Earth, they're never coming back. So we might as well have funeral services for them here. But the moon
well,
is different. We have documented uh, missions that have gone to the moon and have returned. So
right,
it's closer, it's more feasible to do that. And according to Partner Science Way or Partner Science Norway, they have been working on, hold on, I got to reject all these cookies real quick. They have been working on figuring out ways to settle on the moon. So they look
hmm,
at, the different things that they have to overcome before they settle on the moon. And this comes from the um, May 2023 article, so pretty recently. Will it be possible for humans to build and live on the moon for extended periods of time? These educational, intellectual articles have got to figure out catchier names than just full sentences.
right,
So some of the things they talk about is like, what is the temperature, the moon dust that they have to work with, and then the extreme temperatures, because in the sun the moon is hot, and when it's outside of the sun on the dark side of the moon it's cold. So we got to work through that. We got to figure out how to mimic conditions on the moon. How do we utilize the resources? And it's people are already trying to figure this out because sure, Mars has an atmosphere and its gravity is more like that of Earth, but it's so far away. And we
yeah,
haven't been able to send anyone to the moon to actually figure out, or send it to Mars to figure out what the conditions are actually like. All we have is, you know, pictures and videos and stuff from a robot. That's all we have for
yeah.
Mars.
Well, I mean, but with the moon though, like, I mean, it's still far away because everybody says things like, how long is this thing? Well, it's so long that you could go to the moon and back 22 times or something, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So the moon is still also far away, and not worth going to. Like, if I'm going to really travel, I want to travel as far as possible, and Mars would be the best bet. I mean, because nobody wants to go to Uranus
That's true. But Nathan,
because
I hate
Uranus
to
stinks.
wow. I hate to bring this up, Nathan,
Yes.
but in previous episodes when we discussed what it is to travel and to go places, you argued for the position of staying at home and having a staycation.
Yeah, I did.
So, are you going to say I recant of my previous position and now fully hold to this position?
Well, I mean, no. Uh, like, space travel is different from Earth travel, you know?
How is it different? You can die on the way to anything.
Yeah, but I'm not driving a rocket ship. I got a
Yeah.
LeSabre, dude. That's the opposite of a rocket ship.
I got a
You know?
LeSabre, dude. Brah, it's
You
the
know?
sickest thing ever.
Leave my LeSabre alone. I mean, even an airplane is just like a poor man's rocket, I guess. You know?
Look, I hate to bring this up,
Uh huh.
but the website fudzilla.com, which is
Hmm.
not a satirical website. I have done my research and trying to figure out this website. This is not a satirical website. So would you like to
Okay.
hear the title of this fudzilla.com article?
Sure.
Scientists discovered Nazi monuments on the dark side of the moon.
I knew it. I knew it.
Nathan, we have to go to the moon and
No, we
get rid of
don't.
the Nazis. We have to.
Bruh. Dude, is that going to be. Folks, stay tuned for a new TV show documentary called Nathan and Matthew Go to the Moon and Fight Space Nazis.
I mean, so what was that? What was that really bad movie about space Nazis? About what was it?
I don't know.
I remember when it came out. Iron Sky. That's it. It came out
Oh,
in uh what was it? 2012.
yeah.
And it was just like, they found the Nazis found a way to fly to the moon and get away from, being discovered and committed and convicted of war crimes. Um, but this is actually is not what you think. Um, the craters are named after scientific heroes, and you have certain people that were named after it. Um, so you have scientists that have craters named after them. You have Johannes Stark, who was awarded a 1919 Nobel Prize. Um,
Hmm.
you also have physicist Philip Leonard, who won the 1905 Nobel Peace Prize. So you got some people who have contributed a lot to science, except that they're Nazis, dirty
Yeah.
rotten Nazis.
Okay.
They
Well, here's what we're gonna do.
they were
Here's
ardent Nazis.
okay. Here's what we're gonna do. Calm down.
I can't.
Take a deep breath, or not. Okay. Um. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna
Mm-hmm.
go to the moon. Okay. We are going to take. We're gonna on our rocket ship. We will have attached a giant, one of those giant cement trucks. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We'll land the rocket. We get in the truck. We start driving it. We drive to the craters named after the Nazis, and
Mm-hmm.
we fill it in with cement. Okay?
Mm.
We just fill them in. All right? So now it's like, oh, you just have a little acre of land on the moon named after you instead of, wow, they have their own crater. You know?
Mm.
That's how we do this. And then they'll be like, oh wait, where's that crater named after so and so? And they won't be able to find it because it'll be filled in. And
Mm.
cement is the same color as the moon,
True.
so we'll be set.
Mm.
Okay,
I
so
think we now have our own. We have a name for our documentary. It's called Cement Sky instead of Iron Sky.
oh yeah, I like that. Mm-hmm. I
But
like
now we
it.
got that comes with this is like Elon Musk territory. How do we put a cement truck on a rocket?
Right, for sure.
It's hmm,
Yeah, we can do it.
that's a lot of interesting thing. Um, so yes, we have to settle on the moon first. We have to inhabit it because if we don't, then the Nazis are winning and we can't let that happen.
Right. Yeah, they can't win. Not again.
Mm-mm.
Not ever.
They never won.
Well, I don't know. They did conquer like France and other countries. So like they were winning for a while, and then America was like, okay, enough.
Yep. So that's my argument. Even though I think Australia is the final frontier, if we do choose to go to the moon, we have to go there. We have to go there. That needs to be our priority.
Absolutely. I understand.
So, with that secret hidden knowledge that has now been revealed, let's cue the music. Well, folks, it's that time in the episode where we divulge even more secret and hidden knowledge.
Right.
And it's our email and social media. Nathan, would you like to tell them about it?
Yeah, we have social media. You can find us at the email address absurdargumentsforyou@gmail.com. That's absurdarguments, the letter 4, the number u, @gmail.com. And we also are on Instagram, Facebook, Threads. You can find us on those if you wish to follow us. And we'd love to hear from y'all.
Mm-hmm. And we post these episodes to YouTube as well, so you're able to leave comments and tell us how much you hate us. And we'll simply delete those comments and only keep the positive ones.
No. We will remember the hateful ones for the rest of our lives, and it'll torture us.
Oh yeah, no, I have a cork board that I print off. I take a screenshot and print off all the negative comments, and I use that as my motivation to continue to release subpar comedy content.
Like, I'm gonna prove the haters wrong by
I'm gonna
continuing to
I'm
do
gonna
what
prove
I'm
them
doing.
right.
Yeah, true.
Well, Nathan, as we explore the rest of our days and the time ahead, do you have any final thoughts?
No, well, Matthew.
Hi, Nathan.
What?
Welcome back. I lost you for a moment.
Oh, okay.
All I heard was no. Well, and then nothing.
Oh, I said, stay cool, space cowboy.
Thank you for listening to Absurd Arguments, everyone, and we will see y'all in the next episode. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.